Hey guys, how's it going? Out here in the shop playing around, working on another bow, another bamboo back bow. Love these things. This is what old Howard Hill used to shoot. I think Fred Bear played with bamboo a little bit too, but I'm not positive on that. So here's what I've got going on. Here's the template, the metal template. Here, it's 6 feet long. I bought this template. That's what these bows I've duplicated out of. Been shooting these things and having a lot of fun with them. I put on whiskers too, the rubber whiskers on these. There's that finished bow. I dished it out and I worked on it. It took me about, I don't know, a good 40 minutes to get that handle feeling the way I wanted it. And nice comfortable handle on that thing. I made a Flemish twist string for it. This one happens to be a factory string, and I bought more material so I can make more Flemish strings. But here, those two bows run about 40-45 pounds. I've got to set up another pulley system here. I'm going to rig it right here to where I can put my bows on there and pull a cord with a pound scale in there and get my poundage on these bows. These bows right here are hunting weight bows, and they're running 40-45 pounds. This one here I'm building now. It's going to be the same length, same design totally, but only thing I'm changing is the ipe. This ipe, which is Brazilian mahogany, I've cut this to 1/4 inch thick. 1/4 inch thick. It is, let's see here, it should be 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches wide. This lumber, I bought standard conventional lumber, ipe lumber. This stuff they use to make docks out of. It's a very tough, dense wood. I love this stuff. I've made them before out of hickory, didn't care for it. Had a ton of hand shock. You don't get any hand shock with these bows. And this, here's my bamboo. I bought this particular one from a fella that actually I bought this template from, but I don't think he's in business anymore. So I want to give you the numbers on this. If you know some guy in it with a CMT machine can cut this out. This material here looks like it's only, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch thick, this metal. So you could have them whack this thing out. I made this piece of wood 1/4 inch thick, hoping to get me a 30-35 pound bow. And the reason for that is I can give this to kids, some kids starting out. And also I need more practice on getting form. And you can do that easily with a lighter weight bow, shooting at about 10 feet from your target. Concentrating on getting form. I'm not there yet. I don't have an issue with my compound bow, but with this here, it's a whole different game. It adds a more challenge to the hunt. And I want to get good at this, so we're going to keep at it. So I've gone and thinned my bamboo. What you can do is get you a cheap little old measuring caliper gimmick here like this. And what you want is 1/8 of an inch thick. 1/8 of an inch thick through. Now you can come down where the fade out is. I've got a 14-inch fade piece going in here of ipe. I've got some 5/16 cut. It's going to be 14 inches in here. So there's going to be a non-working portion of this limb right here. So from here out past that 7 inches from center each way is going to be a working limb. So I've got her 1/8 inch thick. Didn't take long. Let me show you my setup here. Show you this little quick easy setup. Harbor Freight belt sander. Harbor Freight belt sander. I just took some Harbor Freight clamps and clamped it to it. That's all there is to it. You turn it on. I had to put a block of wood under here because these clamps wouldn't get, but you just clamp it on either side. Just take your time. Just keep going back and forth, get the tip going, and just keep checking it as you go. And get that dude worked right down to eighth of an inch thick right through the limb. You do not want it more than 1/8 of an inch. You will overpower the belly wood. You don't want that. This is just a reinforcement, and this stuff will make this tough as heck. This bow tough. I'm not kidding you. Use a respirator. Get you a cheap Harbor Freight respirator. I paid. This is for paint, fumes, everything. This thing was 15 bucks. I had a coupon. It was 15 bucks. I carry it. When I store it, I put a paper towel in there if there's any moisture left in there. And then I put that on. I store it in my bag. Put it in my organized totes. Oh, yeah. You've seen that movie. So that's the plan. I'm going to put this bow together. I've got to order some Bondtite. I used to put this stuff together with Urec 185, but it's out of commission. They don't sell it anymore. So you got to go to Unibond 800. It's the same stuff. The beauty of Unibond is you don't need a heat box. Most of the bow manufacturers today are putting everything together with Smooth On. Well, to use Smooth On, now you got to put together this big friggin' box to put this whole bow, clamped up bow inside of it. Heat the thing up to I don't know what temperature. It's hot in there. You let it cook in there for so many hours and it's done and all. You don't need to fool with that stuff with these bows. Urec 185, it's been replaced by Unibond 800, and that's the stuff they use to glue together all of your instruments, guitars, violins, and that sort of thing, and longbows. It was used forever. It is a fantastic glue. And tough as glass, and it air dries. You put this stuff together and you clamp her down. This is my clamping board right here, this thing right here. This is going to be set up on 2 sawhorses, and this is my rail. It's covered with plastic wrap, okay? Any glue drippage. This pegs on here. I don't even use those pegs anymore, but I use this rail. This is all clamped together. I use spring clamps. I'll show you that setup once I get it all together and on that rail. But I wanted to show you what I was doing, and hopefully I can get a 30-35 pound bow out of this deal. This template, just like those bows over there, is 6 feet long, 72 inches. At the end of these tips here, are 3/8 wide. So take these measurements down. If you know somebody who can build you one of these, because it would be nice to have, you can make this out of wood or, I don't know, maybe masonite or some material that's, but you want it accurate. That's the beauty of this. I can clamp this to my bamboo and draw it out. You draw it out. This is the back. This is going to be glued to the belly wood. This is going to be the belly wood here. Belly wood is the wood that's looking at you. All right. So what I did was took my bamboo that I got, flattened it somewhat, and put on here. And you can see it's still got edge. There's still plenty of meat here. But what I did, I cut it out and I left plenty of line. And then I fine-tuned it down with this in my little sanding setup out there to 1/8 of an inch thick. You can leave it a little fat in the center here because, like I said before, it's a non-working portion of the limb. But the limbs you want no thicker than 1/8 of an inch thick. Let me give you these numbers here in case you want to build one of these. All right, to this point, from this point to the end is 3 feet. You've got a 4-inch handle in here. So you go 2 inches either way to this point. At this point here, you're 3/4 of an inch. You're 3/4 of an inch here. The bulbous part, the fat part on that bulbous, is 1 inch. 1 inch. You come here to the 2-inch mark from the center, 2 inches here, and you come here to the wide point, and that wide point is 1 3/8. 1 3/8 here. So all you'd have to do is pop a line from one end to the other, straight line. Find your center down here. Get that 3/8, half of that 3/8. On the out, get that 3/8 there, and then from this line right here, right there, come down to here. That will create that nice taper, on that thing. So that's basically it. I mean, if you have any other questions, let me know, and I'll be sure to help you out. So now I've got this thinned. Now I've got this all this bamboo thinned. What I'm gonna do here, this is kind of awkward right here. What I'm gonna do is set up two sawhorses here. Put this rail on it. Put all this material here on that rail. Now it's up, nice working height here. I'm gonna bring this down, get it centered on the ends. It's already 6 feet long, this bamboo. It's already cut to length, precisely to length. All I gotta do is center this up to get it on here. Now I'm gonna take spring clamps, clamp one here, one on this end, one on that end. So I've got it laid out. I'm gonna take a fine Sharpie, get me a real fine Sharpie, permanent marker, and mark this out. Both sides. I'm also gonna put marks in here and on here. Lay this whole thing out. Put the marks in there also. These are just reference marks so you can maintain straight lines and stuff. But once I take my Sharpie and mark this out, I'm going back to my belt sander, put a chair down there, and I'm going to sit there on that chair and start sanding right up to, but not remove the black line. Up to it, but not remove it, and go right down through. I'm going to leave that on there throughout the entire bow. Get right up to the black line, but don't remove the black line. That way you can maintain a nice straight thing. Now, once that's done, that's good. I've got a little device that I use. It's like a toothing plane. This is smooth. You don't want this smooth. This has got to be rough. Not this side. This is the outside where these nodes are. You leave those alone. Come over here and take that. All it is a blade out of a, can't even say the word, like a saber saw. It's a Sawzall blade. That's what I'm looking. Sawzall blade. It's a rough tooth, coarse tooth, and I sandwiched it between 2 3/4 by 1 pieces of wood. I drilled 2 holes, put wing nuts so I can take it in and out, tighten it up. That's what you use. Just lay this on a flat surface. Actually, it's on my rail, and I take and cut that deep grooves in this thing. Don't get too nuts. You just want nice. You need some scratched up surfaces on that. You're going to do that on all mating surfaces. The belly of the wood that's going to be looking at you when this bow's complete, you leave it alone. My son had a DeWalt planer. We cut this stuff out of a 1x6, which ends up being 3/4 by 5.5 is what it ends up being. I bought a 12-foot stick of this Ipe out of an exotic wood store in Sarasota, Florida. Was at my doorstep in 2 days. I called them up. I told them what I was doing. I said, I'm building longbows. And okay, we have Ipe. I said, can you have the boys look it over? I don't want any knots or anything in it. Oh yeah, that Ipe is clear anyway. I said, very good. I said, but can you cut it to 6 foot length? Cut that 12-foot board in half. Sure can. So they cut it in half for me. I had two boards. They wrapped visqueen around it, and they shipped it to me. Like I said, it was on my doorstep 2 days. Then we took it to the saw. It was 3/4 thick, and we started chopping out of there this 1.5 inches. I forget what we ended up with out of that 5.5 inch piece. So then, once they did that, then we stood it up, adjusted our fence on our table saw to where the blade was up, and we ran them through. I got a 5/6. We cut a 5/16 piece. We got 2 of them out of that 3/4. The only thing you're losing is the saw curve. So you can make a lot of bows with a 12-foot piece of wood. And the bamboo, just hunt around. You can find sources for this stuff, but it's got to be extremely dry. The stuff's got to be dry, and you can make a heat box and put it in and dry it out if you're getting fresh bamboo harvesting. But it's Mosa bamboo is what it is. Hopefully it works out. It don't really super matter. This node right here is close to this end. That node there is almost a foot from the end here. Matter of fact, there was the other node starting there. But anyway, hopefully it'll work out to where this is the bottom of the bow and that's the top of the bow, because your string needs to slide down. It'll work either way. I make fairly large loops on my bows. So, but you can see how flimsy this is. You're thinking, my God, that ain't gonna do nothing. Wrong. This stuff is unbelievably strong. When you sandwich it up on this piece of Ipe, you have got one tough bow. And I got 2 of them right over there. They're going to be hog and deer killers just as soon as I can get good with it. But you're going to scratch, you're going to rough claw marks on this with that toothing plane on both mating surfaces. And like I said, I'll show you how to set it up on the rail when we get going with that. So that's it, a little quickie video, having fun building bows. It's a nice hobby, and it's great. It's great when it's not 1,000 degrees in this building. It's 50 degrees today. Can you believe that? Florida, 50 degrees. Yeah, so it's going to be hot soon. We're going to be back in hell heat real soon. And of course, at that time of the year, yep, more beehives. Yep, we're building more bees. Miss Daisy told me to cut back on the bees. Every time she comes out, there's a lot of bees flying around her head, and I'm not moving bees anymore like I used to, so I'm going to downsize on my bees. I'll probably run about 5 colonies or so and cut back on the amount of bees that we're dealing with and selling, but hopefully we'll keep, 10 hives or so going. Anyway, that's what we're going to be doing, but for now, in the winter, we're not doing bees, so we do stuff like this, and we hunt and fish, okay? And so that's it for now. Get back with you soon. And I thought I'd just show you this, give you an idea how to build these if you want to get into this hobby. It's a lot of fun. I don't know, let's see, Boyer Bows was the name of the company, and I went out and looked on his site, and it seems like his site shut down. I don't know if he is out of business, checked out, or what he has done, but that is where I got this template. But like I said, if you know somebody that's got a machine or a business, you could go and have them cut that, give them those measurements I just gave you. It's 3/8 here down to here, and that was 1 3/8 at this point here. And let me give you that measurement from the tip to this point here. 34 something. It's right, it's real close to, it's about 31 and 5/8. It's about 31 and 5/8 to this point. 31 and 5/8 to here. And so check those, you know, work with those numbers, and you can lay out this template. You could lay it out with a piece of wood. You could actually almost lay it out with a piece of bamboo, but you're going to have warpage, a little bit of warpage and stuff, till you get this stuff glued up. This piece of Ipe has already got a slight amount of bow in it, so I will look at your wood when you glue this up, and put this side's bowed up, put this as the belly, because I'm going to be pulling this up anyway. Once I glue it up, I'm going to be torquing it a little bit upwards, like so, on the glue up. So you have, it's going to be going the other way. I'm sorry, it's going to be going the other way. When you glue these up, you don't want to be having a bow. The bow, once you string it, it's going to have an arc in it, right? Well, you don't want that when you glue it up. You want this to come up, pulled up when you glue it. You want that end pulled up. I pull it up, I think, seems like I pulled it up at least 4 inches, maybe more. After you shoot these bows 100 times, and then you take your measurement to determine which end is the top and bottom of these things. It takes 100 arrows through it to get it that way. Then you decide where you're going to put your handle. You can build a handle. You don't need to have this fiberglass mold thing that I made. You don't need to do that. You can actually build up wood and then use sanders and get it down and actually create a handle just like those on there. Okay, that's it, guys. Catch y'all later. Be happy, be strong. We got to keep getting it on, baby. See ya.